Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. The Iranian and US delegations wrapped up their new round of nuclear talks in Geneva, Switzerland, after what officials called significant progress in the negotiation. The meeting marked the third round of indirect nuclear talks between Iran and the United States under the mediation of Oman. Iran's delegation was headed by Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, while US Presidential Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner represented the US in the negotiations. The first and second round of talks were held earlier this month in Muscat and Geneva, respectively. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi described talks between the US and Iran aimed at resolving a long-standing nuclear dispute and averting new US strikes as some of the most serious negotiations the two countries have had. He added the Iranians had clearly expressed their demand for lifting of US sanctions, which Washington has long insisted will only come after deep concessions from Tehran. There was no immediate comment from the US negotiating team on the outcome of the talks. A major fire which broke out at an industrial complex in Iran's southern city of Abadan has been extinguished. The incident took place at a plastic raw materials factory. Footage recorded near the industrial complex showed a huge plume of thick smoke rising into the sky as flames burned at the site. No casualties were reported and emergency crews were searching and securing the site. Gaza's Civil Defense Ministry said Israeli strikes killed at least 5 people. 2 died in an airstrike in central Gaza, while 3 were killed in a drone strike in the south. Violence has continued in the Palestinian territory despite a US-brokered truce that entered its second phase last month, with Israel and Hamas trading accusations of violating the agreement. USS Gerald Ford, the biggest US aircraft carrier, left port near the Greek island of Crete, bound for shores near Haifa in northern Israel, where it is expected to arrive today. The US has also sent around a dozen F-22 fighter jets to Israel, the first time Washington has deployed combat aircraft to the country for potential wartime operations. The Trump administration has not formally announced the deployment. Trump said on February 19th that Iran must make a deal in 10 to 15 days, warning that quote-unquote really bad things would otherwise happen. The deployment comes against the backdrop of a major US military buildup in West Asia ordered by Donald Trump. Pakistan has bombed Afghanistan's major cities Kabul and Kandahar hours after Afghan forces attacked its border troops. Both sides reported dozens of soldiers have been killed. Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif has declared an open war following the border clashes. Meanwhile, Taliban claimed to have captured 19 border posts and killed 55 Pakistani troops. The Afghan Taliban said it had launched the large-scale operation in response to Islamabad's strikes earlier this week, which it claimed had killed at least 18 people. Talks between the US and Ukraine concluded in Geneva and preparations are underway for the next round of talks. Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council Secretary said the objective is to make the next trilateral meeting involving the United States and Russia as substantive as possible. The Ukrainian delegation was led by Rustem Umerov, while the US delegation was led by US Presidential Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. Russia's Presidential Special Envoy Kirill Dmitriev also held talks with US representatives in Geneva and declined to comment on the results. The United States has shown willingness to cooperate with Havana in probing a shootout between Cuba's Coast Guard and a U.S. speedboat that left 4 passengers dead. According to reports, a U.S. official says at least 2 of those involved were American citizens, one who was killed and another who was injured. A third person was reportedly in the U.S. on a K-1 visa. Cuba said it intercepted a U.S. registered speedboat off its coast and accused those on board of planning what it called an infiltration with terrorist aims. According to Cuba's Interior Ministry, border guards opened fire after alleging that people aboard the Florida-registered vessel shot first. Venezuela's interim leader Delcy Rodriguez asked U.S. President Donald Trump to end all penalties on the South American country, calling the two nations friends and partners following the ouster of Nicolas Maduro on January 3rd. In December, Trump ordered a blockade of sanctioned oil vessels heading to and from Venezuela. A raft of other sanctions has been applied to individuals and state entities in Caracas. Then, on January 3rd, U.S. Special Forces detained Maduro and his wife in a daring raid, bringing them to the United States to stand trial on criminal charges. Former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton dismissed any personal connection to late disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, telling lawmakers she had no knowledge of crimes committed by Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. Her testimony will be followed by her husband Bill Clinton's, who is scheduled to testify today. During her appearance, Clinton said she had answered all questions as fully as she could in her testimony. She further claimed of having no knowledge of who Epstein was, nor visiting his island office or residences, while describing Maxwell as nothing more than a mere acquaintance. Clinton defended her husband, saying she is confident Bill Clinton knew nothing of Epstein's crimes. Anthropic says it will not grant the Pentagon unrestricted access to its technology despite mounting pressure from the United States Department of Defense. Washington has set a deadline until Friday for the AI company to agree to unconditional military use of its systems or potentially face severe consequences. After meeting with Anthropic earlier this week, the Pentagon issued a blunt ultimatum: agree to unrestricted military use of its technology or face being forced to comply under the Defense Production Act. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi is pushing to revise the imperial house law to maintain the male-only line of succession. A staunch conservative, Takaichi views this as a task that goes to the foundations of the state and cannot be postponed. The administration opposes female imperial succession. A nearly blind refugee from Myanmar missing since his release from a Buffalo jail into U.S. Border Patrol custody has been found dead on a downtown street. Police officers in the upstate New York City located the body of Nurul Amin Shah Alam. Mourners gathered in Buffalo town for Shah Alam's funeral. Shah Alam had been missing since February 19th, when U.S. Border Patrol agents dropped him off at a place miles from his home following his release from a county jail, where he had spent much of the last year awaiting trial on criminal charges that resulted in a misdemeanor plea deal. Across Pakistan's northern mountains, winters are arriving later and behaving unpredictably. Cold spells are shorter, freeze-thaw cycles unstable in the wider Hindu Kush Himalayan regions. Scientists report fewer extreme cold events and shorter snow seasons, what locals call a snow drought, when snowfall fails to settle. The change is visible in Hunza. Data compiled by a climate analytics platform shows average winter precipitation has fallen about 30% since the late 2010s, recording 4 consecutive years below normal. Some recent winters also have been 2 to 3 degrees Celsius milder, so is less known to sustain lasting ice. Berlin is basking in the sun again after a long grey winter. People were out taking advantage of the first warm days of the season. The first ice cream shops also reopened to their doors. To a steady stream of customers, temperatures of up to 17 degrees Celsius were forecast for Berlin in some areas. Temperatures are supposed to shoot up above 20 degrees in the southwest. The weather situation is characterized by high air pressure over Eastern Europe and low air pressure over northwestern Europe, with Germany lying between the two. A mud volcano erupted in Colombia's San Juan de Urabá, shooting flames and smoke high into the sky after flammable gases ignited. No injuries were reported, but livestock were killed, vegetation caught fire, and nearby roads were damaged by cracks and debris. India is likely to record one of its warmest Marches on record, with above-average temperatures forecast in key wheat and oil seed-growing states, potentially cutting yields. India, the world's second-largest wheat producer and biggest importer of edible oils, is counting on bumper 2026 crops to export surplus wheat.
The world is likely going to get a lot hotter.
Palm, soy, and sunflower oils. Asian markets fell on Friday as investors pulled back from risk amid concerns over high AI valuations and rising geopolitical tensions involving the US and Iran. Japanese stocks tracked Wall Street lower despite strong earnings from Nvidia, as investors appeared unimpressed by results that failed to justify lofty valuations. US futures also slipped, with S&P 500 and Nasdaq contracts down in Asian trade. Safe haven assets gained ground. The yen and US Treasuries rose, while gold held firm after a recent two-day rally. Investors now remain focused on AI momentum and geopolitical developments driving global sentiment. Oil prices edged lower on Friday and were set for weekly losses after the United States and Iran agreed to extend nuclear negotiations, easing fears of immediate supply disruptions. Brent crude slipped 0.4% to around $70 a barrel. The benchmark was on track to post losses of nearly 2% for the week. Prices had briefly jumped more than $1 during talks in Geneva after reports suggested negotiations had stalled over uranium enrichment demands. But crude paired gains after Oman's foreign minister said progress had been made. The talks aimed at resolving the long-running dispute between Washington and Tehran are set to continue next week in Vienna, reducing near-term concerns of military escalation in the region. Markets are now watching closely as the deadline set by US President Donald Trump approaches in early March. Gold prices were little changed on Friday. Spot gold hovered near $5,169 an ounce, while US futures settled slightly lower. Analysts say bullion is struggling to break above key resistance levels, with traders cautious that a geopolitical breakthrough could trigger short-term pullbacks. A senior Iranian official indicated a potential framework deal is possible if nuclear and non-nuclear issues are separated, though gaps remain ahead of the next round of negotiations. Gold, seen as a safe haven during uncertainty, continues to draw support from geopolitical risks and expectations of two Fed rate cut bets. Meanwhile, US tariff concerns and steady labor market data added to the cautious tone. In other metals, silver, platinum and palladium all declined on the day. An advisor to Europe's top court has backed EU antitrust regulators in their dispute with Meta. The opinion relates to Meta's challenge against EU requests for information in two separate investigations. The case focused on data demands linked to Facebook Marketplace and the company's handling of Facebook user data. Advocate General Athanasios Rantos said the General Court did not make a legal error in assessing the need for the requested information. He also said there were adequate safeguards in place for how the data would be provided to the Commission. Apple is in discussions with major Indian banks to roll out Apple Pay in the country. The iPhone maker is in talks with the ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank and Axis Bank for the payment service. The company is also engaging with global card networks as part of the plan. According to a Bloomberg report, Apple is targeting a launch around the middle of 2026. Talks signal Apple's push to expand its fintech ecosystem in one of the world's fastest growing digital payments markets. The move could also intensify competition in India's mobile payment space. Meta has signed a multi-billion-dollar agreement to rent AI chips from Google to build new artificial intelligence models. The multi-year deal involves Google's tensor processing units, seen as an alternative to NVIDIA's dominant AI GPUs. The move comes as tech giants race to secure chip supply and scale AI infrastructure. Earlier this week, AMD said it would sell up to $60 billion worth of AI chips to Meta. The Facebook parent has also struck a separate deal with NVIDIA for its current and next generation AI chips. Apple has asked a US federal court to dismiss a proposed class action accusing it of defrauding shareholders. The lawsuit claims Apple overstated the AI capabilities of its Siri voice assistant and misled investors on App Store compliance. Apple told the court there is no evidence it knew Siri's advanced AI features would be delayed when it spoke about them in June 2024. The company later postponed some Siri upgrades, with CEO Tim Cook saying a more personal version was taking longer than expected. Apple also said it never guaranteed its system to follow the 2021 Epic Games injunction would be foolproof. The case covers shareholders who claim major losses in Apple stock between May 2024 and May 2025. Google has unveiled Nano Banana 2, the successor to its viral AI image generation model. According to the company, the new version offers faster performance and sharper image output. Nano Banana 2 will be rolled out across the Gemini app, Search AI Mode Lens and the Flow video tool. The model runs on Gemini's Flash system, making image generation quicker and more cost efficient. The original Nano Banana attracted 13 million users to the Gemini app in just 4 days. By mid-October, users had created more than 5 billion images with the tool. OpenAI has announced plans to make London its largest research center outside the United States. The ChatGPT maker cited Britain's strong tech ecosystem and talent pool as key reasons for the expansion. The move supports the UK's ambition to position itself as a global AI superpower. OpenAI's research chief, Mark Chen, said the country's universities and scientific institutions offer a major advantage. The UK government called the decision a huge vote of confidence in its AI strategy. OpenAI currently has more than 30 staff in London, with teams working on AI software and infrastructure. In the ongoing T20 World Cup, defending champions India kept their hopes alive of reaching the semi-finals with a 72-run win over Zimbabwe in Chennai. The victory means India's match against the West Indies is a virtual quarter-final. Asked to bat first, India posted 256 for 4, the second highest total in T20 World Cup history. Opener Abhishek Sharma top scored with 55 of 30 balls, ending his lean patch of form. All-rounder Hardik Pandya struck a 23-ball half-century, while Tilak Verma added an unbeaten 44 from just 16 deliveries. Zimbabwe's chase never seriously threatened. Opener Brian Bennett carried his bat for a defiant 97 not out from 59 balls, but he received little support from the rest of the batting lineup. Zimbabwe finished on 184 for 6. Comedy legend Jim Carrey received a standing ovation at the 51st Cesar Awards in Paris. The 64-year-old actor was presented with the honorary César, which is France's highest cinematic honor. Carrey accepted the award while speaking entirely in French. He compared the art of acting to a sculptor shaping clay, leaving the audience moved by his reflection on the craft. Never Have I Ever actor Maitri Ramakrishnan is heading to high school once again, but this time as the rival of young Elle Woods. Ramakrishnan has officially joined season 2 of the Prime Video prequel series Elle. She will portray Sam, the intellectually formidable editor-in-chief of the school newspaper and self-appointed guardian of grammar. Described as the enemy of joy to Elle's optimism, Sam is set to be the primary antagonist when the second season begins filming this spring. The first season of the series is scheduled to premiere on July 1st.